I know for a fact that I was put on this planet to serve.
Hello, and welcome to the Tower Coffee Hour. This is your host, Preston or Tyree, and today we're going to talk to the folks at the Mueller Foundation. The Foundation's website states the Mueller Foundation provides the largest portfolio of shared appreciation affordable homes in Austin and has retained these homes through resales to other generations of affordable owners. Founded in 2007, when the first residents moved into the neighborhood, the Foundation has recently added a new staff member, Bertie Flores-Samilpa, as Senior Manager, Community Engagement. In this episode of the Tower Coffee Hour, we will be talking to Bertie and Robin LaFleur, the Executive Director, about the Foundation and the work it does in the neighborhood. Mueller was founded on 6 core principles: mixed use and density, affordability, sustainability and green urbanism, diverse and inclusive community, pedestrian-oriented, and economic development and revitalization. The Mueller Foundation impact touches on most of those principles and is particularly focused on 3: mixed use and density, affordability, and diverse and inclusive community. So today we're going to find out a little more about what Bertie and Robin do to keep Mueller housing affordable. It is so nice to be here and talk to y'all, because I think, looking around the neighborhood, what I see is that a lot of our neighbors don't even know that Mueller's Foundation is here, and most of us don't know what it is and what it's doing. Your website, I thought the statement on your website is so beautiful, where we keep the affordable houses in the neighborhood, basically.
Yeah.
That is so cool. And we're at what percentage of affordability? Do you know that number?
I do. So right now we're at 25%
Okay.
of the entire ownership community is in the affordable homes program. The exact number of homes right now that we have in the portfolio is 686.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah.
Who came up with that? But that's Mueller.
It is Mueller.
What it was designed to do.
Absolutely. One of the guiding principles, one of the 7 guiding principles that you'll hear the developers talk about, and those that were, in the early formation days. I mean, this was very much, and the surrounding neighborhoods, this was a demand. That the demand was there must be affordability in the community. Yeah. And we've got it. We've got it today.
Got it.
Yeah.
And 25%.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's huge. It's huge. Yeah.
I've heard numbers higher than that.
So I can tell you that the foundation itself, we steward the ownership units.
Okay.
Within the rental community, the rentals right now are close to 27%.
Okay.
So I think that is amazing as well. So when you average us, we're close to 26%, of affordability for the entire community.
So you have how many units of ownership?
For ownership, right now we have 686 exactly.
Okay.
And over the next period of time before the developer, kind of exits stage left, if you will, there will be 13, 14, 20, 30 total units added to the portfolio. So those are the remaining. There will be 3 of the icons are going to be in the affordable homes program. Yeah. And then also some of the in-town, both at Concourse and Iris, those 2 condo buildings, there's 13 and 14 respectively in those buildings that are going to be added into our program.
That's so
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning. What's your name?
Let's start with that. My name is Robin LaFleur. I'm the Executive Director here at the Mueller Foundation, and I'm so pleased to do an introduction here.
And
Hi, my name is Bertie Flores-Samilpa. I am the engagement manager here with the foundation.
And the reason we're having this conversation is because Bertie got introduced saying, hey, here's a new staff member.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, so we are the all and mighty twosome here right now. Francis Ferguson, who was my predecessor, is still on the team part-time as kind of in a senior advisor capacity. So we've got kind of like a 2-point.
Francis is amazing.
She's amazing, amazing. So we've got like a 2.25% staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So.
But, Bertie showed up and we said, hey, we need to talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's your title, Bertie?
She's a senior manager of community engagement.
manager
Yes.
of community engagement.
Yes.
And what does that mean? What does community engagement mean? Are you talking just to the owners, or are you talking to the community?
Well, we talked to the community at large. So I'm excited. Well, I've only been here for a little over 30 days, so I'm still fairly new, getting myself acclimated. But I enjoy working with the community. I've done a lot, in my tenure of working in other, for other companies. I've done a lot of that, engaging with, homeowners and families and alike. And so it's near and dear to my heart. Just being able to engage with families.
I'm just sitting here looking at your smile,
Oh.
and it just
It's so genuine. It's so genuine and infectious. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
and and that's what makes a community work.
Yeah,
We're
absolutely.
working together and we're smiling with each
Yeah.
other. It's just it's great to see you.
I'm excited to be here.
Good. So what about working with this lady?
Robin, I've worked with her. I've known her for 12 years.
Yeah, I think so.
It's
Yeah,
going on
12
12
years.
years. So yeah, we worked together in the past, but just love working under her direction. She's amazing. I've always often have mentioned to her that she is my go-to, just everything that she brings to me and I guess everything that she does for me. So yeah, love it.
Thank you, Bertie. That's
Yeah.
really sweet. Yeah. So Bertie and I have known each other for about, I think, 11 and a half, 12 years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And when I found out that Bertie was interested in leaving her previous, employer, I was like, wait, what? You're doing what? And she actually called me. She was on her way to an interview, and I was like, wait, you're doing what? You mean you're interested in leaving? And I got super, super excited, and I said, well, turn that car around and come my direction. I really did. And she came that evening, or that late that afternoon, that evening after she was done with, I don't remember if you actually did go to that interview or not, but
actually did. But
so she went to her lunchtime interview, and then she came at almost right at the end of the closing business day after she was done. And we spoke, and I was like, here's what I need, and I said, I know you, and these, you're all of this that I had on paper, plus so much more, and so I was like, what do you think, lady? You want to do this together, and
I think the stars just aligned. I think it was meant to be. I feel like
that's such a great story.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think so too. And so really, Bertie's efforts right now. So you did ask about, the community at large, or maybe the owners in the Affordable Homes Program. And Bertie is very much, because of, her experience and whatnot in doing things like, she was a HUD certified financial counselor, lots of experience in affordable housing for the past 11 years, I think, right? And then, similar to mine. And so I'll have a little more on it, but not much. So anyway, with that package, it was just, I was blown away, at being able to pair what my needs were for, the foundation, and to support our owners, and to support, the program as a whole, to get, to have Bertie join us. So, yeah.
I see this as I want to say a very big job. If you've got that many houses, that you're dealing with owners of that many houses, this is a big job.
It is. It is a big job, and a lot of people. Would you like to hear a little more about the foundation, kind of to understand from a little bit of a broader picture? Would that be helpful?
I think it would, because again, I suspect that most people in Mueller may not even know you're here, and they certainly don't know what you do.
Yeah.
Now, the people in the affordable program probably have a good idea, but they may like to hear it too.
Sure. Yeah, that would be great. So, so the foundation itself, we were formed in partnership with the developer, and that was because Mueller had this lofty goal of 25%, affordable housing, all dispersed and intertwined with the entire community. So it's very, very, very challenging from the exterior to determine which, if one is affordable, if one is not, and it'll kind of go. This one is, this one isn't, this one is, this one isn't, depending on the community and the area that you're living in. But so what we do is we have legal instruments, legal tools that we use that keep the home affordable, or that are underlying agreements that make the home affordable on its first purchase. And then we also have the purchase option and right of first refusal in place so that whenever an owner is ready to sell, we can jump in, we facilitate the resale for them, and have another program eligible or income qualified owner come and take their spot, move in and have that resale home. So right now we always say there's always a home in Miller, because even though I said there's going to be 30 more added to that 686 number, there's resales happening all the time. I really wanted to let the community know that there are, because of all the resales that we have going on and the new construction that I mentioned that's coming into the program, we are looking for buyers. So while we do have an approved buyer pool, we are always looking for additions to that approved buyer pool. So if you're interested, we would love to have you reach out to info@MuellerFoundation.org, and we'll get you all the qualification information that you need, and go from there. We'll also have a listening session about the program specifically coming up on April 21st. So if this is published before then, we encourage you to join that info session and learn more. There's always a home in Miller, for that income qualified, household. Yeah. I think that's one of the most beautiful things, about this community is it's not, the affordable housing is over in this section, and then the other, homes are over in this section, the other, that there's some kind of, stigma. We don't have that, and that's part of the, the inclusivity of this community that makes it so amazing. So
yeah, it's very well blended when you drive through the community. I feel, it just doesn't seem that way at all.
In terms of renting and, and some of the guidelines that are in the, in the documents and the affordability agreements that all of the owners sign, one of the things that we are responsible for is ensuring that people are upholding, complying, sure, upholding the agreements that they originally committed to. And one of those is that the home absolutely must be your principal residence. Yes. And so, we request that, that owners file their homestead exemption so that it's clear that that is their primary, principal residence. And also there are limitations on leasing in general. So, oftentimes there will be somebody that might, have a room available, type thing. And generally speaking, the ask of the foundation is that gets communicated to the foundation. And the reason being is because it's very much intended for these homes to not be used as investment properties. Right. And so when an owner does, have, has in a situation where they are going to rent their home, there's a cap on the amount of rent that they can charge. Okay. And that's in line with the published rates from the city of Austin. Okay. And so I could go on and on about the intricate details of this, but it's basically, it's at an 80% MFI, median family income, or AMI, area median income limit that they can charge for their home. So, and generally speaking, that's usually for a room. We do have, as part of the stewardship efforts and as part of Bertie's initiatives and stuff, we have a program that the board has approved that is a leave of absence form. A leave of absence policy.
So it allows the family or the homeowner they're allowed to come to us to apply, in case there's a family member that's ill and maybe living in another state. And so that allows them the time to go and care for their loved one. And then meanwhile, they can still retain the home. And it's under rental. They can actually use it as rental. Great. As a rental property.
Yeah. That's been one of the issues is people buying an affordable home and then renting it out.
Right.
And that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, and that is a challenge. That is a challenge. That's also part of our work is it's just stewardship efforts. We have to ensure that if the home was purchased as an affordable home, and it was agreed to in the beginning that be your principal residence, and that you're not just using it as an investment property, because there are folks that need those homes. I mean, and to get to live in Miller, and the price range roughly, for an affordable home is anywhere from like about 160 to, maybe up to like about 280.
Wow.
And the 280 or we have sold a few at like 300. Those homes, it's because they're called workforce homes, and that just means they go up to they serve a higher income bracket. So they're still affordable homes, but they're workforce homes, so they go up to 120% AMI, as opposed to most of the homes being at 80% AMI.
Yeah.
Is there, I was thinking when you said workforce, is there any break for somebody who works in the community?
So that's an awesome question, and there is not a break for somebody specific in Miller, working in Miller, but we always, when we do marketing for folks to purchase, we do a lot of kind of targeted or affirmative marketing to try and hit like the surrounding areas, so that we can bring folks that are like nearby, into the community and that type of thing.
Now here come the personal questions.
Okay.
And we'll start with you, Robin. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up? How'd you get here?
Oh, great question. Fun question, too. So I consider myself a local Austinite with a caveat. I was actually born in Cedar Park, Texas. And I was born in Cedar Park before there was a hospital in Cedar Park. My mother had me and my sister both with home births, with a midwife. I think we turned out okay. So that was in Cedar Park, and then we did move into Austin, and that was in Cedar Park. It was like 183 was just a dirt road. It was just and so and then
old, Robin.
Well, it was. I mean, and Cedar Park was at that time. I mean, I remember we would go down the hill, and it was anyway. I ended up back I kind of had a first career in the tech industry. Kind of doing operations and things that weren't really fueling my soul, to be honest. I was going startup, from startup to startup, and my last startup got acquired by IBM, which was kind of cool. But I realized I was more than just a serial number, because at IBM, at that 350,000 employees, and I was literally 43,897. Still recall that number.
Oh my gosh.
And so I ended up needing to, leave IBM, and my now ex-husband, at that time, my husband said, "Hey, why don't you just take a break? Just relax, sit at the home, take care of our dog." And I was like, "That's cute. Thank you, sweetheart." But it lasted about 3 days, Ty. And then within those 3 days, I went to go volunteer for Austin Habitat for Humanity. And so when I went to go volunteer, I was like, wow, I think they're about to tell me no, because I brought a resume not knowing if I should bring a resume for a volunteer experience or not. And she was looking over my resume, and the director at the time, she kind of looks up and she's like, "Well, I know you came here to work for free, but I actually have a job for you. Now, it doesn't pay much, but if you're interested, I would love for you, I'll offer it to you right now." And so I was just like, wow, well, sure, okay, I'll try it, And so that launched my career into affordable housing. And I know for a fact that I was put on this planet to serve, and this is the capacity in which I get to serve. So I've spent the last 16, almost 17 years in the affordable housing space, and I couldn't be happier in it. It absolutely fuels my soul.
I was going to ask you why, but you just answered that.
Yeah. I mean, so I also, I would also just add to that I kind of have a little bit of lived experience, because when it came time for me to purchase my home, after I had gotten, I did have a home with my ex-husband, but when it came time for me to purchase one, as a single woman, I was priced out of Austin. So even still today, I live in Cedar Park. So I kind of went full circle. I was born in Cedar Park, and then I purchased a home in Cedar Park because, at that time it was about $200,000, and that's what I could afford, working for a nonprofit, and that's just where I lived, or it's where I live today. Still, I love that home.
And you ride the train.
I do not ride the train because of time constraints, but we all have time constraints, and I say that, but really that's kind of just an excuse. It would be amazing if I did. The route is conducive to doing that. Yeah. I mean, the station that's near my house is like 10 minutes from my house. So I mean, theoretically, I absolutely could. So yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put
No, that's okay. That's okay. No, I mean it's it's one of those things that especially like in the early when I was first kind of like mapping things out. This is actually coming to Miller is a lot closer than my previous engagement, and so that being the case, I'm thrilled to be here just because it's more like a 35-minute drive compared to like 45-minute to an hour and 15-minute drive where I was before, but.
Okay.
But that driving time, that time on the road, it gives you time to reflect and to think and to get prepared for your day and get prepared to do amazing things for amazing people in the community.
And then run into somebody you knew and had worked with before, and here she is. And Bertie, where'd you grow up?
I am, as they call me, a unicorn.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in East Austin.
Wow.
I've lived there. I lived there my whole life. My grandparents were there from the 20s, I believe, 1920s. They had their little house in East Austin. Huge family. Married. I'm married. I have 3 children, and I have my grandmother. So, I have a full life. Yeah, I lived in Austin primarily, and then I bought my house about 20 years ago in Buda because, I like country living to begin with, but I felt like Buda was more my style, and so I ended up in Buda. So I do commute here, but the commute, like Robin was saying, I just think plan out my day, I map out my day. So it's I'm excited to be here. Such as what Robin was saying, I just love being in the affordable homeownership space. I've been in it for about 10 years, 11 years or so. But previously, I've been in banking, most of my career. So I was in the private sector for many, many years working in banking and servicing. And so back in the day, it was Temple Inland Mortgage Corporation that was off of Mopac. And that's kind of where I started. I was in my 20s, my early 20s. And so, fast forward to now. Being on this side has really shown me the difference in terms of, affordability. It's grown. I think my grandmother, if she were still alive today, she would, she wouldn't even know what to think if she drove down Miller because it was so different back when. And even in East Austin, I mean, it was just like night and day, and so my grandmother's house is still there. Surprisingly, after all of these years, it was sold. The family sold the house, but the house itself is still there on the corner of in our neighborhood, our old neighborhood. So
that's so great. And the fact that the two of you had come together over time, not just recently, but over time. I mean, you know each other, you work with each other, you work well together. That's just a benefit for us, the residents of Miller. And so, thank you for being here.
Oh gosh, thank you. Yeah, we feel privileged to be here, to be honest. So, and the fact that we, that we have had, experience and whatnot working together, it just meant that Bertie could hit the ground running, and and we've always admired each other's work, and so to get to work together as a team that's cohesive, that we, we can finish each other's sentences, and she knows what I'm thinking, or if I have a look on my face, she's like, or if she's like kind of looking a little concerned, I'm like, or we laugh and we joke, all the time, and so, we're serious when we need to be serious, and, we have a good time when when we're ready to have a good time. So
for sure.
That's great. Yeah. Speaking of a good time, we are having a community engagement event on April 23rd from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. I think we're doing. Yeah.
And where will that
be? And that is going to be at BD Riley's. It's really in recognition of the Affordable Homes Program. We have sent out invitations to all of the owners in the Affordable Homes Program, but it's not an exclusive event, so we do want, anybody from the community who wants to stop by during that time and just say hi, and so again, that's the April 23rd from 5 to 7:30 at BD Riley's. Okay. So we're hoping we have a good turnout, and we're going to kind of introduce Bertie. She's really looking forward. I'll let you speak to it. I am. Looking forward to getting to meet the community.
Know the community and like the owners, the property owners. We have a raffle happening as well. So it's just a little tiny raffle. And we're excited. I'm super excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we'll make sure that it gets publicized. So what else? What did I miss?
Maybe a little bit about the program. Like, do you think people understand like the we have 25% affordability, but do you think they understand what that means. I mean, I did throw out some numbers in terms of like housing costs.
One of the problems that I've found with affordability in Austin, I had this discussion with DMA
Yeah,
because it's all built on MFI,
right.
and MFI goes up faster than cost of
does.
living.
It does.
So you have this problem where there's this pressure all the time on the cost of the affordable program just because of the way it's structured.
Right.
So how do
right.
you deal with that?
So I love that you asked that, because one of the things that we do that we pride ourselves on doing is when we have a certain MFI target that we're trying to hit. Let's say it's 80%, because maybe it's new construction and their requirement is 80%. When we're doing price analysis and when we're going through, especially like on resales where we have a lot of control and flexibility with regard to where that pricing lands for that next income eligible or program eligible buyer, we are able to price so that we're capturing kind of a wider range within that that top limit. So if we're trying to sell a home to somebody that's at 80% or under AMI, well, we don't start at doing the numbers at 80%. You know, that for that one, it's like for a one person household, just for reference, it's 73,950 today is 80% of the AMI, which is kind of shocking because that's kind of a large number. So to be able to, as just a one person, a single household or single person household, that many developers, many other communities, they would start using that number, the 73,000. Well, we start at 70% AMI instead of the 80%. So we have that bracket of between 70 and 80%. So we can capture more, more households and more individuals can qualify for the program. And we even go a step further, because if there are also folks that might be just a smidge over, maybe they're at 83% or 86%. And in other, affordable homes programs across the city, even across the nation, that would just be hard no. We have the flexibility, especially on resale, of repricing that home. So maybe it was sold originally at 80%. Well, now we're going to price it at up to 100% AMI, but again, we're not pricing it at all the way at 100%. We're going lower, and we're either starting at 90 or we're starting lower based on what we see in our approved buyer pool.
Do you hold a mortgage on these houses, or?
We do. So there's been a few iterations of the program, and for a good amount of, we don't hold the mortgage, but we do have a second lien on a good number of the homes. Okay. So, and that was just kind of part of the evolution of, how we were able to make these homes affordable.
Now, we talk about a median family income. Are you working on the 30%, that 30% of the income should be housing?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So when we do our price, our price modeling, if you will, we're trying to hit 28%. 28%, of your housing costs, and that's inclusive of, so what we take, it's a calculation, and so it's principal, it's interest, it's taxes, it's insurance, and it's association. So it is, property owners association at the time of purchase, when we're doing the analysis, we take all of those things into account. And today we do have a stewardship fee for the foundation. So that's an annual fee of $250 to determine what the maximum and minimum sales prices should be to capture, and land at that 28% housing ratio.
And that's a number that's pretty well nationwide. I
think
people talk about your housing burden if you're over 30% of your income is going into your housing. And
right.
You're looking at all the numbers that goes into the housing.
Right. Yeah. So HUD defines affordable housing at 30%. Okay. So we try and scoot in just a little bit lower than that. There are times we've sold houses that were at 26%, or 26.8. We try and stay in that bracket, but we do everything we can to keep it at around 28%. Okay. Below that 30% threshold.
That's what makes this work.
It does.
And it's what makes it available to people who couldn't necessarily afford a house.
Exactly.
To look at Mueller and to get a house that I can't tell from any other house in Mueller.
Right.
Is affordable. And to, it's amazing work that y'all do. And I hope you go home at night and think, oh, wow, we did something good today.
It's great, because I can tell you, 100% I do. And I know Bertie does too.
Absolutely. I think I agree with Robin. I think making the home affordable for the homeowner or the family. I think it's key because I mean it's exciting to purchase, and I kind of said this over, I've done education to families for home buyer education, and so my rule has always been, if you can, the exciting part is to purchase the home, right? That's the fun part,
Yeah.
right? But you also need to consider, like Robin was saying, we have to make sure that the affordability is there because time passes. 30 years is a commitment, right? And so having those things and having the importance of letting the homeowner know, like, hey, you can afford this home, but we're also wanting you to be successful at ownership as well. And
Right,
I think
right.
that importance of the 30 or below 30% MFI or
Housing
the
ratio.
housing
Yeah,
ratios.
yeah.
I think it's key. for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Okay. Well, this is great. I just appreciate your time so much. Last words?
Oh, I'm just happy to be here, and I keep,
You keep
I keep
touching
touching
your
my mic.
Yeah.
I said, I'm just so happy to be here. I genuinely just, I'm excited. Yeah, it's my first 30 days was amazing, and I can't imagine it. What it's gonna.
It's only
be.
going to get
It's
better.
gonna get better.
Gonna get better. And, watching the two of you, I think that's one of the ways you live your life. It's going to get better.
And we have the privilege of getting to do that. So
Yeah.
we're here. We're literally here to serve. So getting to serve and getting to enrich folks' lives, and do whatever we can, to make something better for somebody on any given day. Just makes us happy. It's
Yes.
fantastic.
Great. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And I know you're
Yeah.
busy people, so I'm going to pack up and get out of here. Wow. Those two really do a lot for the Mueller neighborhood. We need to keep supporting them and make sure that we stay affordable. Thanks for watching. Please hit subscribe and like, and we'll keep bringing you more episodes like this. Thank you. I'm signing off.